So that initial feeling, well, it's not the same way you feel about, being with someone in year one. You still feel exactly that same way 25 years later. It's been the same person doing the exact same thing.
That's the type of Luther Vandross love that I want.
Me too. Alas, I think we have to get it from Walt Disney. Yes, Cinderella and Aladdin. This is why we have to work hard, So you can keep the.
This is why we have to write the book. The Love That Lasts. The Love That Lasts. So we know how. Well, the next one on the list, I really do like. And this is probably something that if I was seeking a relationship would be the first thing that would be on my mind, and that would be the shared experiences. That's why I made that point about when you mentioned tennis earlier on. I said, well, if I didn't ever play tennis, I would say, look, I'm not a tennis player, but hey, let's learn. I'll learn, or let's get a coach, or let's whatever it might be. Let's have that shared experience. That on a Thursday we go and play tennis. Might be we play very badly, and in that, because it says you've got to do something that creates a memory.
Yeah, there's something very exciting about doing the same thing. So there's a special place in my heart, for example, for my friends who I run with. It's a bond, because nobody else can understand the madness, because running such in the way that I do, obsessively and most irrational, illogical, it doesn't make any sense. There's me out there in the rain when everyone is under their duvet, right? So the people who understand why I'm out there running, when we have a coffee, it's not just a coffee, it's a, do you know what happened? And do you know this is one, and at mile 3, blah, blah, like, really? And yes, I know. Nobody else can understand that. So that's what that's talking about. So I know it's not the same as being, with a man or, whatever, but it's still, it's very,
But it could be. But it could be, because if you're coming back from your run and you say, do you know what happened at mile 14? He just goes, I told you shouldn't run. That's not helping you, is it? Yeah, well, don't tell me, because I just think I should take your trainers away. It's not helping at all.
I suppose the shared experience in that is maybe the you come home to the person who's run an ice bath for you, because they know that when you're training for a marathon and you've run 26 kilometers, you need to have an ice bath when you get home. Or
you just put me off of the running 26. Coming home to the ice bath. No.
Yeah, I had to do that. It was awful, actually. I did like them.
Donna said, I've had to pull over. I'm with you, Charlie. I want the butterflies. The Luther Vandross love is so amazing. Yes.
What's the point?
Otherwise, what's the point? And I think the older you get, when starting out in a relationship, your expectations, because especially if you've gone through a period of time of being single, you're not going to break that just to say, oh, there's somebody next to me. You want the right person.
You want the real thing. Yeah.
You want the real thing. You're not going to waste your time. You're not going to waste your energy. You're not going to do the whole staying up all night having conversations, talking about your likes and dislikes. For no reason, for it to go nowhere. So at this stage in life,
but at the same point, you don't want it to become almost like a functional business arrangement, do you? You don't want it to just be matter of fact. It's still got to be exciting. It's still got to be.
But I think, for me, I want, if I'm going to engage in a relationship with someone in 10 years' time, I still want to look at him and say, "Ooh."
No, 100%.
So I agree. So when I said about the, that bit dies, not all of it dies. The love still remains, and you still look at them in the same way. But I'm saying that giddy excitement of that teenage.
I want in 10 years' time to still be giddy. I still want. You know that feeling when someone comes and someone's at the airport. You're going to pick up someone that you haven't seen, a family member, and they land.
So happy.
They've landed. And everyone's coming around the bed. You're like, oh, not yet. And then you see them and you're like, oh, I want that feeling every time they come home from work.
Okay.
And I think it's realistic.
Yeah, I think so too.
Well, I think it is, but to an extent. I'm saying that I don't think that whole thing that I don't think that the very feeling in the beginning, I don't think that's gonna go all the way. I think it transcends into something else, something equally beautiful. Yeah, something equally beautiful. So something that feels like that thing. But that beginning, I think that's physical attraction, right? And while it remains, I think it's kind of eventually like fizzles out a little bit because it grows into something deeper and something more than just the electricity.
So
The relationship can't survive on electricity alone.
Oh, someone said it's not possible, Charlie.
There you go. Someone agrees with me. Finally.
no, I think it might change. It's not the same feeling because that same feeling is almost an unknown feeling. It's an unknown romantic mystery.
Yeah.
We defined romance 4 weeks ago.
Yeah.
It is the mystery that creates excitement in a situation of love, in an environment of love.
Reminds me every day.
Excite you.
Excitement every day.
It's you in history.
And I will always be the first to say, when it comes to love, I am very old school. I want to be, let's go walking in the rain. Let's go. I mean, I love all those little nuances, those little attention to detail. I love all those things because I think those are the things that will keep you interested.
And you can still do them.
You can, exactly.
Later.
You can.
So I think what Sally's saying is that you'll still do that, but the relationship will change and grow and develop and mature
into something else.
So it's growing to something else, and you can still have mystery and excitement and romance. It doesn't mean that the romance and excitement and mystery.
So don't stop putting the little notes in my handbag for me to find, and don't stop cutting the sandwiches in triangles and giving me the, you know what I mean?
No, so what you'll do then, you'll cut it in a different shape. That's the mystery. That's it. What shape am I going to get today?
But I want the grass.
For me, I love to try. I love, like, what she said, the new things.
Yeah.
New things, excitement. Just keep
keep
it coming.
Yeah. New, exciting, interesting. It doesn't have to be
that'll keep the love.
Keep
growing.
So someone says both of you have to be on the same path. I suppose, So can you imagine putting Shally with somebody who doesn't believe at all in romance of any kind? It's never going to work, right? There'll be no compromise, no respect. Alas, it's never going to work. So you have to find somebody who wants to do these things.
I find sometimes it's people love to feel that way, but people don't want other people to feel that way.
But sometimes they don't know how. Some people don't know how.
Recently, I went to a coffee shop, which will remain nameless, and I bought many reasons, I'll tell you later. I bought a hot chocolate. It was a coconut hot chocolate, and it tasted like a warm Bounty bar.
Oh,
you know what it was like? And
I want to go to this cafe. Can we go?
Yes, we can. Yeah. Okay. And you just like, you want to go home and how can I make it? How and is that feeling in terms of when someone does something really nice for you, the response to that is also to do something, want them to have that same experience, that you open a door and there's a bunch of flowers, or you go to work and there's something in your handbag, like a little note in your handbag that you knew was
sweet.
And if you like that feeling, then your want should be to give them back a feeling similar. Your want shouldn't be for them to keep making you feel this way.
Yeah.
And you're not giving them back what they've given to you. And I think that's something that I struggle with, because there's so many selfish people who view love in a very selfish manner. What can I get from it? What can you give to me? Me. And they're not thinking about how the other person will feel, or how the other person wants to be loved.
Yeah. Or this is what I want to give you, and just be happy with that. So it's, I want to be generous, but this is what I'm giving you. And there's no room for me understanding, well, this is not quite what I want. You know, no, this is what I'm giving you. You know,
Yeah.
I might be a man that I just decide I'm giving you flowers. That's not quite doing it for you. And I'm just not hearing that because I gave you flowers. I gave you flowers. I bring you flowers every week.
Isn't that when the love languages clash? So your
Yes.
love language is acts of service, and mine is like, I don't know, words of affirmation or whatever. And then they're, you know, and
Yes.
so I'm not understanding
I
that
guess
this is
that's
what
when
you
we
want,
get.
and you're not understanding that this is what I want.
Yeah.
So that's another.
But we should know that early.
But then that's what loops back to
Communication.
Communication.
Yeah, but we should know. That's what I'm saying. We should know that early.
Yeah.
We shouldn't be finding that out late.
But you know what I don't like? People are using love languages as a buzzword these days. This is ridiculous program that I love to watch, and I don't know why. Pop the balloon, but anyway,
That's
and
what it's called.
it's and find love. So if you do, they come out, and if you don't like them, you just pop your balloon. But anyway,
Yeah. I've
If you
seen
don't
that.
like them, or if you do like
if
them,
you don't like them, you pop the balloon and
Okay.
you find love. But and
well, pop your balloon and don't find love. Then
well, that's what happens. But anyway,
Yeah.
And I think everyone on there, what's your love language? And sometimes they say stuff like going to the park. That's not a love language.
Are these Gen Zs?
They don't understand what it is, but because it's a buzzword and because everyone's talking about it,
Yeah, they use it incorrectly.
They use it incorrectly because actually you have to go through the survey and you have to get a result at the end, and your love language also isn't fixed. So because right now I've gone through a whole lot of grief, for example, my love language might be physical touch.
Yeah.
And that's what I might need right
At
now.
that time.
But another time in my life when I'm not going through anything traumatic, I might want words of affirmation. So it's not, it may change. It's not going to be the same forever.
Listen, I need you to decide. What's your love language? I've got support. This is another thing to keep out the love.
What does it
Make the
say?
love last. It says support. Encourage each other's personal growth and goals.
Yeah. That's
How
what we
often
said.
do people have to? They're almost. I mean, a simple thing, a very simple thing. A woman that really wants to learn to drive and get a bit of independence, so that not everywhere that she needs to go, she has to get a taxi or get her husband to drive. You know, and he did everything to sabotage the growth of getting independence a car.
He did.
Yeah.
Why? You like
Control.
independence?
Control.
Enjoyed. Okay.
Yeah, and just a simple thing as that. Support them in their growth and goals. And that goes, I mean, some actually, you know what? I think some of these things go such a long way. And if we could just get into doing these steps, because after that, I've got affection and self-care. And we can go into what they say about them. But when you look at them, what's the hardest one of, do you know what the hardest one of all of those were?
Communication?
Yeah. No, trust isn't hard, I don't think.
That would have been the hardest one for me.
Yeah, communication. Not just communicate, because I could communicate, but not just communication. But when they talk about expressing your needs, feelings, and concerns, I guess that's only hard because I don't trust. I guess if I trusted, it would be easy.
I just looked at the list and I thought to myself, I think mine is respect.
Hardest?
You won't be able to respect. But
You don't respect me.
You're generally
You don't respect me.
very
No.
giving in respect.
But I think the problem I have is if I'm disrespected.
No.
Yeah.
Yes. We can't start there. We can't start there. No, because you're immediately starting at the point of a negativity. We're saying that we're meeting someone and we're trying to build a relationship. And as I build a relationship, what in me is the hardest one of these to attain? And you're saying respect if he's already disrespected me. So no, we're on a level playing field at this point. So I think my hardest one, you see, I say my hardest one is the communication. and I say not the trust, but the only reason why I don't communicate
It's because you don't trust.
is because I don't trust. So
Chicken and egg.
I get, yeah.
No, trust then is higher than communication.
So trust, I guess, is higher. No, I've got the answer. It's not. It's like you with the respect. If I have not been disrespected or given a reason to not trust, I'm good with the communication.
Okay.
If I get to a point where I have been disrespected or there is something going on that is causing me not to trust, and I'm still in a relationship that I really want to work, but I'm in that place of not sure, then I can still be there, but the communication's gone.
Why can't you trust?
No, nobody wrote that.
Yes. Yeah. Why can't you trust?
Oh, they're asking
Who's
you.
They're asking me or you? Or...
Oh, Charlie.
I
Never mind. It was you. Yes, you. Yeah.
Why can't you trust, Mark?
I can.
Go on, tell us a story.
I can trust.
Once upon a time.
No, I do trust, and I can trust, and I don't have a huge issue with trust. I'm very trusting and very trustful.
It's like
And
8
and I'm very trustworthy.
Hold on, Lucy, what was yours?
Yeah, Lucy, let's ask Lucy.
Yeah, the one you struggled with. Yeah. So I said, what did I say? I said trust, I think would be the hardest for me. Yeah.
Oh, well.
Should we read it out again?
So we've got communication, trust, respect, shared experience, support, compromise, affection, and self-care.
I think trust.
Yeah, I think trust.
Trust is the top one.
Yeah.
Trust is the top one.
All of us are agreed on that, actually. I think. Except Charlie doesn't want to be disrespected under any circumstance.
Yeah. So you mean some guy meets her at a party and says, "Can I buy you a drink?" Are you going to disrespect me? Are you disrespecting me right now?
I can't buy my own drink.
Yeah, you're trying to say you're trying to say that I can't buy my own drink.
Some people like to use you need to respect me, and you're like, you have to earn respect.
Yeah.
But it's just that, you know what I mean? I think there's so many things people do now which is disrespectful. And some people don't even realize that it's disrespectful. And they've normalized it, and it's normal behavior, and it's not okay. And
Can we have examples?
Because I'm gonna say something like holding a door open for you instead of letting it stab you in your face. Don't you know sometimes you're behind someone. The common courtesy is just to hold the door for them. It's not gonna make you late for a meeting if you hold the door for them. But they just and I just think that's
yeah. But if you were in a relationship with somebody, they would always hold the door for you.
Not everyone. No, not always. Certainly not always. Sometimes they might forget, you know. So,
they might forget that they're in a relationship with you.
To open the door. But yeah, it should be natural, but you know, it not always is.
When you reach your destination, you just sit in the car. And you see him walking down the road, you think,
hello.
Then he comes and he opens his door and looks at, you're right.
Opens his door, yeah.
It's like,
no, you can't coerce that kind of stuff. It has to be natural. But I mean, I can't imagine being in a relationship and not holding the door for my wife.
Everyone has the same training. Not everyone picks up certain values. And that's why it's important to make sure you're passing the right values to your children, because and they understand what the expectation is. So for example, if you've got a daughter, letting her know that it's what's expected.
If you're with, I don't see that. So what I have to note to self, make sure that I open the car door every time.
Oh, I think I'm gonna have to teach my boys how to, you know.
Yeah, to do that.
Well, so
because sometimes it is upbringing, right?
And then I will say in my defense, I shouldn't even bother, really, should I?
Say it.
I should just let it.
No,
just say
Defend.
defense so you can slap it down.
Shut it. Yes. Bring it.
No. Sometimes by the time I get out the car, and once I'm out the car, closing my door, she's already out the car, or she's already
But
opened
then
the door.
that's okay then.
Guess
Yeah, it's
what? Guess
okay.
what?
Because she's used to I know it. She's used to the fact that I don't come round to open it. She said, well, I might as well just get out myself. What am I sitting here for?
Wow. It says, hi, Mark, Charlie, and guests. Love the banter. I agree. Trust is paramount. When it's broken, it's very hard to mend, like the diary of a mad black woman.
We got one here. He says, I do the same with a car door, so don't feel bad. I'm with you on that one, but I'll hold the door and let the wife go first.
Yeah, I think the car. Yeah, I'm really not defending this, but I think what happens a lot is that you come out, they come out. They're coming out. You're almost coming out at the same time.
Okay,
But I will have to make.
Ladies,
Wait. She can tell them to
who
wait
is
now.
who can hear my voice this evening? We need to normalize waiting. The wait.
Yeah,
The
we need to wait.
We need
to give them a chance.
To give them the opportunity.
Yes.
To open the doors for us, because what I'm hearing is we are too eager to walk out the car.
No, but sometimes we're in a hurry, man.
No.
Run round then. Run round.
There is no hurry. That means that you should be opening the car door for yourself.
Oh dear.
So this week, let's experiment.
Okay.
Let's just wait in the car.
Well.
Okay. Remind me. I'll remind you. Yeah. Yeah, let's see what happens.
See what
Sally
happens.
skeleton discovered.
Sit in the car. Waiting.
You know what?
Waiting.
100 years later, waiting for someone to open.
Wait, there's a play, Waiting for Godot. And the whole play is about these two men waiting. And they're waiting for somebody who never comes, and they're not quite sure if they're coming, but they're waiting. But they're sure he's coming, but he's not. It's called Waiting for Godot. The whole 2-hour play, they're just sitting there waiting.
We have comments. Trust. Some people are transactional in their relationships because that's what they see. Some people are more selfless, so they naturally see others more. I actually agree with that.
Yes.
Yeah,
and I really don't like the transactional. I don't like it. I don't like hearing about it. I don't even like seeing it in a TV drama.
He says also, we'll be waiting till Jesus comes.
Oh, no.
Yeah. And he also says they always come out late. I'm already in the car.
Doesn't matter.
Who's already in the car? The driver or the man?
The man.
The man's already in the car. So when she comes out, no, I don't. If I'm even ready and she's not ready, I never wait in the car. Note to self. I've got my notes.
Yeah. Says, wait. I wish it was like waiting for British rain. That's always guaranteed.
Oh dear. Some of these ladies are not trusting. They're not confident, are they?
Listen. I firmly believe, but I think there's sometimes we need to show people how to love you.
Yeah.
Some people naturally know what it is for whatever reason in life.
That's communication, Shadi.
They understand what it is. They get it. I remember speaking to a lady. She married a man who was a virgin. She was not. And I remember having a conversation, and she was speaking about the fact that she was not enjoying their intimacy.
Yeah.
She was not enjoying it.
She was enjoying her.
He was new.
He was new, and she was not. And I said to her, "Oh, that's your fault." And she looked at me and she said, "What do you mean it's my fault?" I said, "It's your fault." I said, "Because why are you giving him the impression that it's okay?" I said, "You haven't stopped him in the track. You haven't." I said, "And you don't need to do it abruptly or anything else. You make it all part. You make it all part of the intimacy that you're doing.
Yeah, you can show him what you like.
Teach from the back seat. You know what I mean? You, it's just different ways of doing it. But I think, and she said, I never thought about that. She just thought, well, I'm just going to have to
massage his ego all the time and make him feel good.
Oh, you do have options. And I think if a man, for whatever reason, doesn't want to buy flowers because he may have had a bad experience before buying someone flowers, for example.
Or maybe he just doesn't know he's supposed to buy flowers or doesn't understand the concept of buying flowers.
Or maybe one time he bought a lady some flowers. She says, "You bought me lilies. Lilies stand for death." And then he was horrified. So he says he wouldn't do that again. So then he said, "Well, I like flowers. So then when you go to the florist and you look, oh, these are nice, and you speak about it and you have that type of conversation, because then he'll know that actually she likes flowers. And if he's one that listens and pays attention to detail, then you'll come home one day and you'll see those beautiful flowers that you saw in the shop at the correct shade.
It says here, in order to make this love last, you have to listen actively.
She says, when you find that one, ask him if he's got any brothers, uncle, or friends. Yeah.
Oh dear. Some of the ladies are not very confident about us men.
But
They're
listen,
not very confident about us men. We're gonna make the love last. Watch it.
No, I've got something I want to read.
Go on.
I've been looking at it for a little while. It says, "Stop trying to love. There is no try in love. It's energy of a high frequency. It's already here. You just need to get on. You just need to get out of its way. Stop needing, stop wanting, stop expecting."
Supposed to be natural. I understand what that's saying, and I do like it. However, there's something to be said about, with love, you need a little bit of effort to make it work. So even communication is effort. Like even to tell someone you like flowers is, making an effort to open up. If you just sit there and just say, well, I'm not supposed to say anything, you should automatically know to get me flowers, then do you know what I mean?
No, but I do like that, because what I see that as is I think that sometimes we do get in the way. We get in the way of love. So love could be growing, developing, blossoming, whatever. And sometimes we do things that get in the way of it, stop it. And if we got out of the way, it would grow, it would develop naturally. I can see that point. Yeah, there might be other things that you have to do to guide it, shape it. I don't like steak restaurants. I like whatever. So there's guidance, but I think sometimes love can last, because a lot of the time that I think that that we have a problem in a relationship, and I'm only speaking about when both parties want it to work. Because if one party doesn't want it to work, then all of this conversation is mute. When both parties want it to work, I do see a lot of problems is that somehow, somewhere along the line, we let something else get in the way. Not the fact that I don't shut the door or you don't shut the door. It might be that I said I have to utterly refuse to open the car door, which is then I'm putting something in the way of the development. I refuse to buy you flowers. I don't believe in this anniversary celebration. I'm never going to the in-laws for dinner.
Oh dear.
And then that causes a little bit of resentment. And, this thing could grow, it could develop. So I think there's a lot of wisdom in that statement, Charlie, because for two people that really want it to work, but what goes wrong is that we allowed something to get in the way. And get it out of the way, man. What I can tell you is that if you have put something in the way, it's a lot harder to get it out of the way once you put it in there, because once it's in the way, you're then not communicating. You're not communicating. You're a bit untrusting. And you start to lose respect. So you got 3 out of the 8. Boom. Because I put something in the way. And it's caused this, whatever this problem is. And we can't talk about it. I now don't trust you. And I certainly don't respect you. We're not going on any shared experiences. I'm not going. You better live on the experiences of last year, because I ain't going anywhere with you this year. And then Paul, I'm not sitting here listening to you and encouraging you with your growth. What about my growth that you got in the way of? So immediately, boom. Affection, you're having a laugh. Compromise, no way. My way or the highway. Self-care is the only one I'm in for now. And I'm taking care of me.
Oh, Sally, tell us about self-care.
self-care. So from the point of view of self-love, I suppose self-care is making sure that you, within yourself, that you are, you're happy. So because if you're not happy, then everything else will suffer as a result of you not being happy within yourself, I suppose.
Not being whole, yeah.
Yeah, not being whole.
Yeah, yeah.
Exactly. So there are bits missing if you're not talking about it, or there's compromise and there's sabotage. So you're self-sabotaging, as you know, in the name of compromising. So you're I suppose you're giving so much of yourself.
All right. I would say me first.
Yes, exactly. Me first. And the me first thing might sound selfish, but it's actually a way of saving the relationship. Because if you're okay, then you want to try. Then you're happy. Then you're happy with this shared experiences. Then you're open to, compromise. And then you want to communicate. So it starts with you. You have to look after yourself.
So should you love yourself more than you love the other person?
You love yourself first.
Yes. That's perfect. You love yourself first.
Yeah, first.
No. Yeah. Should you love yourself more than you love the other person?
Well, you kind of have to, because you're the foundation of everything. Without you, there's no relationship. Remember that. So
because if you can't give what you don't have.
Yes, you can't pour from an empty cup. So without you, yes, actually, I think I was reluctant to say, Lucy has pushed me to say it. And yes, I say it with conviction. Yes, you must. Because, without you, like I said, without you, there's no relationship. So you have to be okay.
So it's fine to love yourself more, but you've got to leave a little bit of love for them as well.
So the more you love yourself, the more, so it's like filling up the cup. So it's overflowing and you have so much to give.
Well, I've got one author that says, this is how you repair it.
Okay.
And I'm going to read them out.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure how confident I am in the whole repairing, but that may be something that I need to go and do self-reflection on about the repairing. But it says, practice forgiveness. Okay, we want the relationship to work. We want to make the love last. We've got to practice forgiveness, because resentment, anger, and blame are, although they are normal reactions when someone does something hurtful, without the forgiveness, however, little hurts as well as betrayals can tear a relationship apart.
Mm-hmm.
So that forgiveness, how does that really work? Because I can say to my wife, I forgive you, and it's still burning. So I've said I forgive you, I want to forgive you, but it's still burning.
It's human nature.
So how do we, so when this author says, if you want the relationship to work, practice forgiveness, what's that about? How does that manifest itself? How do you do that?
Well, that if they say they're sorry, for example, then accept that they are sorry. As long as there's proof that they're sorry. If they slap you up every day, you can't forgive. That's foolish forgiveness.
You're putting yourself in jeopardy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's just like when I tell my boys all the time. So they do something and they say to me, Mommy, I'm sorry. Mommy, I'm sorry. I'm like, you're not sorry. If you're sorry, you wouldn't do that again. So the same thing you do
over and over again. It's a decision. It becomes a decision to do it, because all I have to do is say sorry. Then you can't expect forgiveness for that. But then these are 11-year-old. Are they 11? Yeah, they're 11. 11-year-old twin boys. So cute. But adorable.
But it's two different things. It's either you're sorry for the action or you're sorry you got caught.
Sorry for the action. So
because some people are telling you sorry, but they're not sorry because they hurt you. They're sorry because you found out.
Yeah, but I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I started that a little too enthusiastically. I need to dial this one back.
Yeah. Yes, please.
Yeah. No, but I'm sorry for the action, but I'm only having to apologize because I got caught. But I am sorry for the action.
So with that one, I think, you need to practice forgiveness, but you need to be wise about it as well. So you can't forgive domestic violence, for example. Do you see what I mean? You can't forgive that. You can, but you need to go. Yeah,
Yeah, I forgive you.
Outside. Yes, outside. Yeah. Otherwise, you're going to be forgiven in your grave.
I forgive you, but I'm gone.
You know what?
Yeah.
You say that, but there's a story that I know of a man who struck his wife out of frustration. And they stayed on and went past that. I don't even know if they went counseling, but they were able to work through that. And to my knowledge, he never struck her
Just
again.
once.
It was just the once. And it was just so I think but there has to be lots of communication and lots of something through that if you are going to go through, because it's not always a definitive that is definitely over.
Charlie, that's the one time though. There are people who hit their wives every day and come back with flowers every day, and the wife still stays every day. And that's going to be her doing that over and over and over again, forever and ever, or until he kills her. Do you see what I mean? So in that case, yeah. But in the instance that it's grey line, blurred lines. These things are very difficult. You know, it's never really black and white, is it?
But I always ask the question in terms of how did she know in that moment that it would never happen again? Because it's
Instinct and true. Yeah, something speaks to you inside. We know this inner voice thing, right? I think we underestimate this.
Are we saying, how does she, after she's been hit the first time?
Yeah, first and only time. So how does she know that he's never going to do it again? She trusted. She trusted because there was something in his apology that
and
was
there's
real.
probably something in the circumstances around the hit.
So the crux of the argument was she was at home, he went to work. She was tired. So she spent the day resting. He came home from work frustrated, and she hadn't cooked.
Okay, he was frustrated at work.
She hadn't tidied up. She hadn't done it. She just spent the day, and through the frustration, an argument heated up. And then outside of there, and then within that argument, he struck her.
Not my sister, he didn't.
Not my child, he didn't either. 30 years ago. And they're still okay, fine, happy 30 years later.
So it was a one-off and it worked for them. She made the decision to forgive him, and it's a decision this time that paid off.
Yeah.
And he never did it. So I suppose maybe if he'd done it a second time, then she wouldn't have been that forgiving, you know? So these things happen, you know, that, and not these things happen. These things shouldn't happen. But this is life, right? Life is crazy. So, you know, I'm happy that they made it work, actually, because it proves that there is forgiveness and there's a reason why human beings make mistakes.
And it's interesting because we will draw, we'd have these red lines that we say, if he hit me,
I will never stay.
I will never stay. And I guess that's a good thing to start teaching your child, that no, if he hits you, don't stay. And then they will decide, in this particular circumstance, there was some physical abuse and I decided to stay, that they can decide that. But if they learn that they shouldn't need to. But I was very interested in a story that I heard once, that there was a lady she's married. There's a couple, they're a married couple, and they was going through some issues, and she went and had an affair. Okay, the man didn't know. So they started to patch it all up. When they patched it all up, she said to him, that he said to her, now that we're patching it all up, I just want you to know that when we had our row, I went out and I had a one-night stand.
Oh dear.
And she went ballistic at the fact that he had a one-night stand. She had also had an affair that was not a one-night stand, but she went ballistic on him that he had a one-night stand. And when I was hearing that story, I was so angered by it. That and how I'm tying that into the physical abuse story. And I want to wrap up on a high note, so I want to get through this quickly. is that sometimes we like to take the moral high ground purely because we don't think that our immorality has been exposed. So I can have a go at you for your one night stand because nobody knows about my affair.
Yeah.
You see, and I can take the high ground on the no. If he hits you, make sure you leave. First hit, bam, out. Not knowing that I either hit or have been hit, and I'm still there working on it. We can take this utopian high ground.
It's still individual though.
And-
so you judge a case on its merits, and it's only the person in the situation who can actually make that call. So we on the outside can advise. And this is what we think is our 2 pence. And our 2 pence literally means nothing. Do you know what I mean? That's all it is.
Our time is up. We've got to end. So I just need to know. So what are the highlights of how we're going to make this love last?
Okay.
What are we going to do? What are we going to do? I've got a list here. I've got loads of lists. Create new goals and dreams with one another.
Shared experiences.
Shared experiences. Share chores as well. Be silly sometimes. Don't take everything so seriously. Life doesn't have to be so matter of fact and regimental. Still have fun. Like Charlie's saying that she wants that excitement. After 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, still have fun and still be silly. And if you're being silly and your spouse goes, "What are you doing? You're ridiculous. Look at you. You're a whale." Then there is something missing in them. Be a problem solver rather than trying to be overcritical. Know when silence is better than speaking. Always show respect. Don't be lazy in love. Make sure you're active in the love. That will help it last. You got any, Charlie?
My big takeaway is do the work.
Yeah.
Work. Yeah.
I think if you're both deciding that this is a space you both want to be in, and that you're not being held hostage in this space,
then you do. Yeah.
do the
by
work.
yourself. Okay.
I think that's all it is. And the other way is there is no try in love.
Yes.
Just love.
Yes.
Yeah, just love.
Just love.
Yeah.
So that's my 2.
Get out of the way. Get out of the way.
Can I read just the end of this book? I always take it back to self-love. So I always start with the me first thing. So it says, so whether you're in love, seeking love, healing from love, or learning to love yourself, remember this. The greatest love story of your life is not the one someone else writes for you, it's the one you write for yourself. And when you build that love, when you nurture it, when you make it your own, then and only then will you know the kind of love that is truly, undeniably, and forever unshakable. So it starts with us. So we are the love, basically.
Okay, excellent.
Yeah.
Well, it's been a pleasure having a conversation with you.
Thank
it's
you.
lovely to have
It's
you.
lovely to come. Thank you for thinking about me, Charlie.
Sally Chiwuzie. It's been lovely to have you. And your friend Lucy.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Lucy.
Thank you.
We have
How she spoke.
international.